Hi, and welcome back to the HSP Connection with me, Robbie Lee.
And me, Philippa Robinson. This is where we share our stories, insights, and strategies to help fellow highly sensitive people navigate their own path to living a fulfilling and meaningful life.
We are on a mission to reclaim the word sensitive and help the world see the strength in sensitivity. Philippa, my friend, what are we talking about today?
Well, we had a bit of a chat, didn't we, before we started to see what we were going to talk about. And as always, we hit on something that lights us both up. And so today we're going to talk about, I'm just checking here what we said the title was, Are You in Your Body?
Yeah.
Are you in your body? And we hear a lot, I think. I mean, I certainly do. I know it's the circles I mix in, and I'm sure you do, Robbie, and I'm sure quite a lot of our listeners do hear the phrase be in your body. Or it helps me, this helps me be in my body. And all of all manner of phrases about being in our body. But do we actually, like, what does that actually feel like? How do we do it? And we came upon this subject because of something you were telling me about. Actually, you've had a little what's the word? You've witnessed that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Experience. Thanks very much. So you've had a very recent experience about that,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I have been doing a lot of work. Like, I knew this year it was going to be about my body. And I have been doing work, as I've shared in other episodes, to learn how to do that, to process trauma through my body, to be in here.
Yeah.
And this weekend I had a session with Anna, who I think her episode is coming out, a week or two from this one. I'm not sure. Soon. I think is it after
It
this
might
one?
even be the one after
Might
this.
even
Yes.
be okay. um she does energy work with folks, and I had this experience where she was asking me, like, to breathe into my feet. And people have said that to me before, and I was just like, I don't know what that means. Like, I can use my imagination and go, okay, and that's what I've always done before. Like, well, I can imagine, I guess, my feet breathing. Like, I don't, and but I didn't really experience it. And this time I was like, oh, like, I felt the energy move from, we kind of started in my heart space, move down into my feet. And it felt like I was breathing into my feet. And my brain right now is going, that sounds ridiculous. So if any of you, if anyone else's brain is saying the same thing, I get it. But it was a very moving and profound experience for me, because we moved on, and it was, we did my whole body. And the experience for me was like, oh, I'm actually in here. I am in here in my body. I am filling it up. My consciousness, my whole of everything is actually sitting in here. I'm not trying to escape it. I'm not off somewhere else. I'm fully in it. And it also it felt profoundly, I felt profoundly connected. I felt energized. I had so much I worked for 6 hours straight on a creative endeavor afterward, which is just huge for me. Like, it was like total creative energy. And I had this knowing while I was doing it. It's like, this is something I have access to at any time. Like, I can access it always. And it felt like a healing energy. So you and I had talked where you're like, I'll let you talk about it, but you talk more about it, but you talk about how you can, like, send your breath into different parts. And that's exactly when I was in that place. I was like, I could send my breath to different parts of my body, and it will help heal it. And it's just one of those, again, my brain doesn't understand how it's happening, but I had a full body knowing. And it was really, I mean, it made me cry, but in just such a beautiful way. Like, say, oh my gosh, I'm here. I've spent so much time out of my body. and trying to escape it. And reconnecting with it was profound.
Yeah, I'm having quite a reaction to you. To you talking about that.
Yeah.
And after years of, so what's coming up for me as you're talking, certainly then towards the end, which is what always gets a lump in my throat, is it feels to me that you had that experience of feeling safe in your body.
Oh gosh, yes. Thank you for that language. That's exactly right. I have, because of the trauma work and the somatic work, because of all that healing work I've been doing that's body focused, I've been able to kind of like reclaim my body and come back home in here. And because it does feel safe again for the first time since I was real little. So that's huge for me.
Yeah, isn't it just?
Huge. Yeah.
And I, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's, I mean, that feels like a really big step. Does it to
Huge.
you?
Like,
Yeah.
I think since we've met, I've been talking to you about how my energy is low. Like, I don't, like, there's something about my energy. And I'm not saying that this is the fix to everything, but I had such a surge of energy, and I have noticed my energy has been climbing since I've been doing this kind of reintegration and the work on claiming my body and being in it and listening to it. And I still have hurt in my body. I don't have everything figured out, but the joining of it for me is creating, like, I have access to energy I haven't had in a long time. It's it's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah. I bet it is. And so, and you were saying that your brain was a bit like, oh, this all sounds a bit. So try
Yeah.
not to logic your way out of this.
Nope.
Stay in
I
your
am.
body and
Yep.
enjoy talking about this and experiencing it and owning it,
Yeah.
because it is really profound. And what came up for me just then, as you said at the end of what you were saying, then that your energy levels have increased, and it kind of so I too lived very dissociated for a long time. I had quite a few experiences when I could feel that I was standing, I was looking at myself. So I was outside my body.
Yep.
It was when I was being vile to somebody, my husband, bless him, not always my husband, but mainly. And I was in a real state and I was not being very nice. And I vividly remember those experiences of sort of standing to the side and being really surprised at the way I was behaving. I couldn't do anything to stop it. I was like, oh, wow, that's not very nice. And, and so that's a real, it's not tangible, but almost as tangible as it's going to get, I think, way of understanding that dissociation. And I think there are various ways of dissociating, and you're not always going to experience that separateness. You can, a lot of people dissociate, I think, from numbing out so that you don't feel. But what I'm getting at is I think it takes a lot of energy to run both those things. To run the body that needs to function and to run all the energy that's needed to be dissociated and to deal with everything that is going on that has made us dissociate in the first place. So to have brought the two together, I mean, just from not running two separate systems and running one together, it kind of makes sense. I'm not that I really want to make sense and logic out of it, but it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? That we would be, you are feeling more energy, more energy is available because you're expending less energy on the dissociation.
Yes.
as well as the healing,
Yes.
because this is all healing as well. So it's coming from all sides to heal and to increase your energy.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. And it takes energy to push things away,
Mm,
right? Which is what a lot of my kind of day-to-day dissociation was. It's just like,
yes,
don't feel that pain, either emotional or physical, right? Just
yes.
just keep that at bay. And that was when I first started doing somatic work, and Katie was like, "Would you have a lot of pain?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, not really." And she was kind of looking at me like, "Okay." And I mean, I had like pain in a certain area of my body, but overall, I'm like, not so really. But then as I started doing the exercises, I'm like, oh yeah, my body is actually in a lot of pain. So
Yes,
I'd spent a lot of time pushing that away.
exactly.
And now it's like, okay, let's not use that energy to push it away. Let's actually see what's there and then see what it needs. And like, let's start moving that energy. Sometimes it's moving the energy out. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's get some medical attention for this. Like it, I mean, there's not one fix for everything. But being able to look at it instead of spending that energy pushing up against it is helping me access that energy, like you said. And now I've had this profound, just like, oh, we're together. Like I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. I just still don't have all the words for it. Like I'm still trying to
No,
translate it, but it was a really cool experience. And now that I have felt that like safety in my body and the energy in my body, and that it was like love and gratitude and things I don't even have words for. It was like, now because I've had that experience in my body, I'm like, how do I stay here? And right, where before it was kind of like, how do I get out of here? It was kind of, I was always like, how do I get out of here? Like, I don't want to, it doesn't feel good in here. How do I get out? How do I get out? How do I stay out? And now I'm like, how do I stay in? How do I
Yeah,
stay in? What else do I need to do? And it's a cool shift. Like, that's not even the right word. It's a profound shift for me.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you mentioned the word need there, and
Mm,
you've got here by addressing your needs,
yes.
and you now have more energy to carry on meeting those needs.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I always talk about sort of like my sort of coming together, coming back into my body, is the integration, really.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel about my integration was that, I'm going to get a bit woo here, really, is that
Bring it.
the part of me that was dissociated was the very young part of me. It was my inner child. And it wasn't safe for her really to be in my body for lots of reasons. The shame that I felt around my body, the way I've pushed my body to extreme, and I don't mean extreme athleticism, I mean extreme work, mainly extreme work actually, and through emotional pain as well. Uh, and like you so rightly said, that it takes it's actually really hard to push it away, to keep it down. However, I think I always felt that I was keeping mine down, which is why when it all came out, it felt like a volcano erupting. But yeah,
Yeah.
pushing it down, keeping it out. However, we are finding it works for us to be doing this, um, it takes a lot to do that. And I feel that it's the young part of me that I really dissociate. And I would always describe it as over there. That part of me being over there, it really was very separate. I had a very distinct feeling of it being separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be over there with it. I didn't want to be in my body
Mm-hmm.
because I'd not treated my body well. I'd not looked after it. I'd shamed it. I'd talked really badly about it. And I would have done anything to have not been in my body and be in a body that, gosh, don't know where all this is coming from, but I would have done anything to have been in a body that felt more acceptable. And well, I say I would have done anything because I could have done anything to make my body acceptable, I suppose. But there was just, I just feel like it's all been so much part of of course, it's been part of the journey because it just has. But it just feels like things changed for me when I accepted the way I look and that this body is okay. And then it's like I could come back in and integrate. And now, like this is the body that carries the essence of me around, that carries my soul, my spirit, me. This is me.
Yes.
And I think this is why that's partly why the "This Is Me" song from The Greatest Showman makes me cry every single time. I cannot listen to that song still yet without it bringing tears to my eyes, because just the whole idea that it's doing it now as I'm talking to you, like the whole idea that I can say this is me, and not only do I not feel the shame that I used to feel, it's like I can feel joy and I can feel I don't know, just it's good to be me. And to be able to feel that like deep inside me is so, I don't know, so profound compared to where I lived a lot of my life. And a lot of that has got to do with learning the breathing, like you did, which is where you started us.
Oh, Philippa, you're talking. It's just like, oh my gosh. I feel like in our culture, these are the messages as women we get from the time we were little. Like there's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with our bodies if they don't look a certain way. And I mean, we're getting more and more body acceptance, but it's still so not enough. And how profoundly sad. Like we've spent, because I'm in the same boat with you. Like how many years did I spend wishing my body was something different than it was? And I say that out loud and it's painful. Like it's sad. And I'm sad for little you and I'm sad for all the women because it's not a unique experience to us. This is a female experience. And I know men also experience it, but I can't speak from their point of view. I know, and the women experience is what I know.
And before you go on, I think women of all shapes and sizes feel that it's not about
100%.
you and I are in bigger bodies than is okay, sort of thing, deemed, but I think there are all shapes and sizes, and I'm not sure I know any woman who actually is happy. Well, I think we all are socialized as women to focus on our attention, to focus on our appearance, and we can always find things that are wrong.
Yeah,
wrong in inverted commas.
100%. It's rare to find, and it's why we celebrate it in the media when someone who doesn't have a classically beautiful shape accepts themselves, because it's so fucking rare.
Exactly.
And it's just like, shouldn't that be the norm, that we just can love who we are?
Yes.
Like, yes. Can we please start giving that message to our young girls and women?
Yeah.
Like, this is the body you're in. Because now I'm 51, and for the first time since maybe I was 3, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm in my body and I want to be here. Like, that's, oh my gosh, And for me, it is appearance is absolutely a piece of that. But I've been really thin. I have, I'm bigger now. So it has, like, that weight has been a different changing thing for me. It's also been about just pain,
Yeah.
like physical and emotional pain have
Yes.
drawn me out of my body, not knowing, like, when I absorbed other people's pain, I didn't know what to do with it. And it sat in me. And I feel
Yeah.
like my body kind of made a bubble around it. I was like, well, here's that. And my own trauma, big T and little t, pain that I didn't know what to do with, that's been in my body. And because I didn't know how to deal with it, I just out of survival mode, I just learned to push it away, right? Or pop
Yeah.
out of my body. For me, you talked about you kind of went to the side and I was always up. I was always up looking down.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's, yeah, fascinating. It's
It
interesting.
it is fascinating. And yes, I went off down the appearance route because I think that was where it started for me, but it's not, it's about something much bigger than that, isn't it? It is about I mean, I can't, it feels a bit wrong to say it really, but it is about acceptance of ourselves. And
Yes.
I feel sad that we all have to go through accepting ourselves.
Right.
That, yeah. But I'm pretty sure we're not alone when we say that that is definitely a process that we are in, and probably will be carrying on to varying levels, degrees. I mean, maybe for the rest of our lives. But I mean, how amazing to have got to where we are from where we started.
100%. Yeah.
And like you,
Keep
it
going.
started for me, being in my body and
Mm.
trying to work out what that meant.
Mm.
Hi, if you're enjoying listening to this podcast, have you thought about joining our HSP Connection community for more connection with other HSPs? Because really, us HSPs thrive in the community of others.
Absolutely. And Philippa and I have created this space on an online platform where we can connect with each other deeply. We're going to have these awesome conversations, and we would love to get to know you over there in that space.
We would. So if you're interested and want to join straight away, there's a link in the show notes. And if you'd like to have a chat with either of us beforehand, please reach out. Now, back to the episode.
Do you think it would be helpful to talk to people about how some of the ways we've learned to be in our bodies? I mean, I shared my most recent experience just now, but
Yeah.
do you think that would be helpful?
And I wonder if it might be worth just actually trying to see whether we can do it. Like, should we have a go and see whether we can actually both breathe into our bodies,
Sure.
and feel it in our bodies, and everyone can try and do it with us if they want.
I like that.
This isn't practice, so let's see what happens.
This is not practiced at all. So
No.
yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah. So if we put our feet, if you're standing or you're sitting, put your feet on the ground. Yeah. If you're do whatever you're doing, try and feel something either on under your feet or what you are resting on, where your body is making contact with. Mm-hmm. So you're not floating. So you're going to be making contact with the ground somewhere. So just feel into that. And obviously, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. You can probably do this along with us if you're driving, as long as you can pay attention to what's going on. We're not going to do any deep breathing that's going to change your awareness or consciousness. We're not going to do any of that. It's literally just seeing if we can follow the breath around our body. So you can do that, just don't close your eyes. But for anybody who can close their eyes, it might be helpful, because I think by shutting off the visual stimuli, we can concentrate on other things. So if we just close our eyes, feel our feet on the floor, and we might feel where we're sitting or lying or where the ground, or we are supported on other parts of our body. And maybe put a hand on your heart and a hand over the other hand on top of that one. Just put a little bit of pressure, not hard, you're not pushing hard, but just put a little bit of pressure so you can feel it. And then we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through our noses and try on each breath to bring it further down into our belly. And then we'll breathe back out of our body. So we'll just do 3 together. Now, what I would say, when you do the next one, breathe down. See if you can just hold it in your belly for just a second or 2. And see if you can. I tend to concentrate on squeezing it a little bit. I think that's what happens for me. And try and concentrate on an area. So I tend to have quite a bad shoulder, and I will try and breathe that breath into my shoulder. So what it usually feels like is filling my belly, then it fills my chest cavity, and then it goes into my shoulders. It just gets, I'm not taking any more breath in, but what's inside me is getting bigger. So let's try and breathe into our chest areas and see if we can make that breath bigger. So if we breathe in, and just hold for a second. And your chest might puff out a little bit. Can you feel that going into your shoulders and your back? And then remembering to breathe out. Maybe we'll try the feet. Robbie, should we try feet?
Let's do it.
Let's see if we can breathe in again, deep into our belly, and get that breath to go down to our feet. Now, anyone listening, you might have felt something. You might not have felt something, and that's fine. Whatever you felt is absolutely fine. And that comes with practice, I think. Did you feel anything, Robbie?
Oh yeah, I get the tingles now. Like I feel like,
Do you?
yeah, like I know how to be in there now, and it's just like, oh, exciting. But
Yeah.
also, what happens for me is I notice. So I kind of breathe into my heart because I'm really used to doing that. So it's
Yeah.
like it's just like I don't even have to think about it. It's like, okay, yep, know how to
Yeah.
do that. I breathe into my belly, like I'm practiced in doing that. So I kind of start there, and then I go, it's kind of like who's excited for it, and I felt my fingers are like me
Oh,
me 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 me. So it's just like, okay, so then I like shot some breath into them because they're like, yeah, me.
yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, my feet want to get involved. So it's I kind of just it's playful for me now,
Great.
talking like I'm so practiced. This just happened for me
Yeah,
recently, but
but
it's
I
just
think,
like I'm in here now, and it's just like, yeah, let's
yeah.
go. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's a bit like it's swirling and like, yeah, where does it want to go?
absolutely. Where does
Where
it
does
want to
it want to
go? Yeah,
go? And, your breath's in your lungs.
yeah, I know,
So
right?
we're thinking of breath, but really it is energy.
Energy.
It's our
It's energy.
vital, and gosh, this makes me feel really emotional. It's our vital energy.
Yes.
It's us. It's our
Yes.
vitality
Yes.
that
Oh,
is moving all over. Um,
100%.
I hope somebody listening who gave that a try heard something, felt something, and maybe listen to this again and just try that again and just see and let us know if you felt something. I would
Yeah,
love to know whether you felt something.
me too.
And I have felt that, like you have, Robbie, profoundly healing to
Yeah.
feel the essence of my life force in me.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Yes. And realizing it's not something out there, it's not something outside of me. It's here in
Yeah.
me. I am it. It is me. It's again struggling with the words. It's
Yeah.
just like, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life force is a great word, a great term
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I started this, I said to you before we came on, I'm feeling really quite tired today because it's my
How are
evening, and
you
I was like,
feeling
and now I'm
now?
like,
Right? It's
yeah,
energizing.
it
Yeah.
is energizing. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. So sorry, I hijacked that a little bit. I mean, I hope that was, I hope you
It's
enjoyed that.
great. I loved it.
You were saying about ways to get in our body, and
Well,
what were you
yeah.
wanted to share?
Well, before we go there, I do want to just say this to people. Like if you're feeling, because I wasn't able to do like the exercise you just did. I wasn't able to do that for years, even though I wanted to. So
Yeah,
if there's, if you have some kind of block there, um, don't despair. Like it's
no,
not, you're not doing anything wrong. It just,
no,
if
that's right.
something occurs to you that wants some loving attention, go do that. And it's okay if it's not ready yet either. Like
Yeah,
both of those are fine.
yeah. Because I do think what needs loving attention first is your heart.
100%.
So, just the breathing and, holding your hand on your heart and just, I don't know, feeling you,
Yes.
I just don't think we take time to do these things. We're so busy rushing around from one thing to another
Mhm.
and doing all things for everybody else, and or
Yeah.
doing things that we should do or have to and all that, to actually just take a minute to connect with the essence of ourselves is a joy and is necessary, really, I
It
think.
is. Yeah.
Mm.
As you were talking to Philippa, it occurred to me, it's like we're busy with all the things and we're very practiced at um all those little stabs toward ourselves, like the little knock, the little judgment, the little, oh, I could have, oh, no, why didn't I? Like, we're so practiced at that culturally, like, you just see it all the time everywhere. And all of those, they take an energetic hit too to our system. It's just like this, and this is I said that because this life force is a loving life. It's loving toward ourselves. It's
Mm.
ourselves loving ourselves. It's mm,
Yeah,
yeah, just love.
yeah, yeah. I love seeing how it's lighting you up.
I, it really does energize me. I'm
Yeah,
just like, yeah, mm-hmm,
yeah, it does.
mm,
And
yeah,
I suppose this that we're, the feeling our energy as we're talking about is the result of other things that we have done to get
it,
into our
it
body.
yes, that's very true for me. Like it's
Yeah,
lots of other things. And so I think that's why I was like, maybe we mentioned briefly for people some of the things we've
yeah.
done. Um, oh boy. So where do I start? Learning how to love like talking to myself in a loving
Mm.
way. Um, doing somatic work, doing breath work, um, therapy, intuitive eating, walking barefoot, sitting with a tree. I talk to trees. I know I'm not alone, but it's does sound woo to a lot of people. But being in nature and being in it, uh, warm baths, Epsom salts, red light therapy, yoga sometimes, um, lymph lymph node massage.
Oh
Just
yeah.
have learned this, love it. Um,
So I was doing
tapping.
lymphatic drainage yesterday. That's this. It's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, we'll not have to talk offline after
yeah.
this. Um, what did I just say? Tapping. I feel like I could go on and on, but those are like these are all things I've done to help heal my
Yes.
system, past life work. Um, so I feel like I've come at it on different levels. Reiki, so energy work, body work, supplements. Like I'm going down a road right now with a yep, can't think of the word right now. Anyway, looking at like what does my body need
Yeah.
supplement wise and how do I support it that way. So those are the ones off the top of my head.
Yeah.
What
So
what about you?
I've
Yeah.
tried I've tried a lot of those as well. I'm
Yeah.
not so much a talker to trees. I'm a hugger of trees, but I do sometimes feel drawn to touch a tree. So I'll see a tree and I'll feel like I want to put my hand on it and I want to connect with it. I've tried some of the things that you've done. I've not tried all of them. I've not tried red light therapy. I have had a past life. I haven't had a past life regression, but I have had some. I've had an Akashic Records session. So Akashic Records are all about your memories and your things that have happened in you and past lives. So this is not really about getting in your body, but it's help. It kind of does. It is about getting in your body, strangely, because it's about you and who you are, and it's helped me feel more me. I'm usually nearly always a man in a past life. It seems. But the Akashic Records were really good. I had a really good release of a lot of things around my mum while I was in the Akashic Records, which is really interesting. I mean, it's not really surprised what I'm going to say next. To regular listeners to this podcast, cold water swimming is my absolute go-to to get in my body. And if I don't go for 3 days or so, 3 or 4 days, I am desperate to get back in that water, because if I haven't been for 3 or 4 days, I've been busy, and that very much takes me out of this grounded, rooted place that I can be in and I like to be in and prefer to be in. But I'm slowly getting taken out of that if I'm busy and getting a bit scattered. So I have to go back into the water to pull it all together again and get me back. And I go with my swimming pal, and we always, I always say afterwards, never regret it. I don't always want to go and get cold in the water, but I never regret going, ever.
Wow.
Or haven't done yet. Let's put it that way. Yoga really helped me when I started. Actually, so I started doing yoga regularly. I don't do a whole yoga session anymore, because I have realized what it is about whole yoga sessions, that like an hour-long yoga is just too much. It's too much being in my body and too much sensory stuff going on. I like a shorter. I'd rather do more shorter sessions, but yoga really helped me because my body, I got to a stage where I wanted to move my body more. I knew my body wanted to move more. So I started with yoga, and that really helped me with the breathing and breathing into my body. So I definitely did yoga from the experience it, feel it, breathe it, more than how far can I push myself and how long can I hold a pose. And I gave myself permission to do as much as I could, and not anything that didn't feel right or didn't feel like I wanted to do that. And I would rest if I needed to. So that really helped at the beginning. I think it sort of moves and changes, doesn't it? What works?
Yes.
Other than the things that you've said, can't really think of anything off the top of my head. No, I'm sure there are other things.
We've probably forgotten a lot.
Exactly. But what's happened to me recently is that I've started lifting weights. And
Nice.
Partly 55-year-old woman lifting weights, great idea. And I absolutely love it. I'm like, wow, I would never have had the guts to go to a proper like weightlifting gym before now. And she takes little videos of me every now and again, and I watched the video she took of me last week. And what really struck me was how grounded and rooted I looked in my feet, which was really lovely. It was really lovely to see, and to look at the video and notice that. So that helps me be in my body, because if you're going to lift heavy weights, you've got to sort of get everything in the right place and brace and all that. So that's my current thing. because I am a little bit, I like, I'm a high sensation seeker, so I want new and novel. So yeah, it ticks that box as well.
I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And to feel strong.
Yes.
In your body. Yeah.
Yes.
There's something powerful about that.
Yeah, I definitely feel much stronger in my body. I mean, I got, I would like to go, I feel I would like to go further yet, but it definitely does feel really cool. And as I'm saying all this, what's coming to me is that actually we can probably try and be in our body doing most things.
100%. That's right.
If we want to. So right. You could just be going about your everyday life and be trying to just breathe a bit deeper or be a bit more aware of what's going on. Take a moment, just take a moment every now and again. I don't know, like when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, just take a moment to take some 2 or 3 deep breaths and just hold them a little bit and just feel that you're breathing weirdly, because I think we breathe automatically, but to feel that we're breathing.
Yeah. And to connect with it.
Yes. And recognize that that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Like, be intentional about it.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the noticing that can be really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really aware a lot of things I listed is like, that helps you be in your body. I listed all those because those helped me heal so that I could be in my body.
Yes.
Like it's been layers of things, and it's, we talk about a kind of spiral, and, there's just been a lot of things I needed to do to be where I am today, where I am now feeling safe in my body, and I'm feeling my body and feeling integrated in my body.
Yeah.
And everyone's path is going to be different.
It absolutely is.
I've
just thought of something I forgot. Mirror work.
Yes. Big.
So, it's big. Yeah, it is really big. And a lot of people don't like it. I didn't like it either. So it was literally sitting down every morning and literally looking at myself in a handheld mirror. So just looking at my face and looking really, really, really looking at myself. And it took me 2 weeks to do that without crying. Because all I could see at the beginning was the pain.
Yeah.
That's literally all I could see in my eyes, the pain. And that did pass. It did pass, and I started to begin to recognize whoever I now know I am behind the pain. That was really a big part for me.
It always touches me every time you share that.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a very universal, sadly, a quite universal experience for folks, and that just breaks my heart that we've been conditioned that it's hard to look at ourselves.
Yeah. I now look at myself in the mirror and smile.
Fantastic.
Which actually is a good job, because then luckily I got to grips with that before the world all went online and I had to look at myself on Zoom every day.
All the time. Yeah.
Every day. But I do think that's why quite a lot of people struggled with that when the world went online. And, it's not easy. Yeah. So this was an episode, Are You in Your Body? And, we did a little exercise. We've talked about some of the things that we've done that have helped us be in our body, either directly or indirectly. So I'm kind of guessing that, listeners, you're going to maybe fall in the camp of, yes, I am, or maybe, no, I'm not at all, or I am a bit, and maybe you want to more. So we've given you some ideas of things that you could try. Most of those Therapy obviously is not free. There are some of those things that you can do with practitioners, some of those things you can do on your own. There are lots of little things that you can do, the breathing, the taking a moment, taking a pause, that you can do for yourself right now if you want to. If you want any other ideas, get in touch with us. But yeah, if anything we've said today strikes a chord with you, I would encourage you to follow that little thread and see where it wants to take you.
Yeah. But it'll always be somewhere interesting. That's been my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. And following those intuitive little nudges has largely got me where I am.
Me too.
Today.
100%.
I was very blinkered before I'd started listening and thinking, well, and I think I started listening because I'd tried the blinkered approach for so long and it was not serving me well anymore. I suppose it had got me to where I was, late 40s, but something had to change. So I decided to try something different.
Yeah.
You too?
It's beautiful. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole year's journey, as I've shared, I know that it was going to be body focused. And
yes.
I mean, oh my gosh, I didn't know I'd end up here. I'm only halfway through. Where am I going to be by the end of the year?
Exactly.
Like, I'm very excited.
Year. Exactly. Yeah. What a year it's been so far.
Absolutely. And the one other thing occurred to me that I just want to say to our listeners, if you are someone who finds yourself dissociating from your body, number one, if you're a highly sensitive person, it's pretty freaking common. Even if you're not, like, I think it's common for a lot of people. It's super common for us, but also that's you taking care of you. It's your systems. It's a natural response to trauma, big T and little t. It's a way to protect yourself. And so well done for protecting yourself and getting you where you are. There's no shame in it. And we're offering this to say, if you're feeling the desire to be in your body, which was what was happening for me, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. But now I don't know how to do it. So help me. Then there is a path forward for that. But there's absolutely no shame if you're not in your body. And so I just wanted to make sure and say that.
Yeah. Thank you for catching that and saying that. You're absolutely right. And even if you might want something different and this just might not be the right time, that might not be available to you right now. And like Robbie says, there is zero shame. You are doing a great job, exactly as you are, doing exactly what you're doing. What we are offering is some ways of exploring, really, if you want and you are able to, move towards something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Philippa said before, if there's something that caught your attention that you're like, oh, I'm curious about that, we encourage you to follow that.
Yeah, very much so. I think that's us for today. Do you think?
I do. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here with us today, and that's it for today. So remember, there is great strength in your sensitivity.
Yeah, and the world needs you to be who you are. So for today, that's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Thanks for listening to HSP Connection. If you've enjoyed listening, we'd love you to hit the follow or subscribe button, as this helps other people find us. And it also means you won't miss an episode.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you could rate the podcast and share it with anyone you think might be interested. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can also leave us a review.
To get in touch with us, you can email us at hspconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you with your thoughts and comments on the episodes, as well as suggestions for future topics and guests.
We are both HSP coaches and speakers. And to find out more about Robbie, go to RobbieLeigh, LEIGH.com.
And to find out more about Philippa, go to boldhsp.com. See you next time.